Hi TrueBuild members, today we're going to walk you through doing an account setup with Zoro. Zoro is a pretty popular company. They're a little bit more up and coming on the business credit scene, but they are actually a sister company of Grainger. So they are similar. They do sell like industrial supplies and things like that, but they actually sell a ton more products than just industrial supplies. They sell office products, all kinds of stuff. They also report to Dun & Bradstreet. So that is the reason why we are talking about them in today's video. We're going to take you over to just cover some of the main points that we'll be talking about today. We're going to go over who Zoro is and why they're important for building business credit. We're going to walk you through an account setup from start to finish, go over some purchasing parameters that are a little bit more unique to Zoro and different from some of the other layer 1 vendors, and then some extra tips and things to remember as you utilize this account. So we're going to take you over to the portal so you can navigate to the Zoro account setup. So here we are on the Zoro page. We have true guidance, as always, tech tips that relate to Zoro, some reporting information, as well as a disclaimer about reporting. We will go over this in some detail, but might as well just mention it off the top here. Currently, Zoro is different from some of the other layer 1 accounts in that upfront purchases at this time don't typically report to the to Dun & Bradstreet. So if you've already gone through some of the other layer 1 accounts, you know that doing a upfront purchase is usually okay and typically reports as a cash experience. And we've touched on previously that that's okay as far as attaining a Paydex score as long as you get at least one net 30 trade line as one of the three. Cash experiences still contribute to your Paydex. However, Zoro is unique in that they only report trade lanes at this time on net 30 accounts, and then just some other information. They report open balances around the 10th of the month. So that's important information for you to know so that you can time your purchase accordingly. It's best to have an open balance around the 10th of the month and then to pay it a few days after that, while also paying it 7 to 10 days prior to the due date. So keep that all in mind. You might have to time this purchase pretty specifically in order to meet all those criteria. But main point is just to try to have an open balance around the 10th of the month and to pay it before the due date. And you should be good to go, and you should get a trade line on Dun & Bradstreet. So that's just one small difference. We touched on that already, but might come back up a little later. And then as always, we have really detailed instructions for doing the account setup and then purchasing with the account once you do. So go ahead and click go to application. It's going to take you to the main page. We have one started here for time's sake. So you're going to input your company name, check off business, make sure it's not checked personal, email, password, create account. We're going to try to go through this a little quickly today. It's going to take you right to the net 30 application. One of three things will happen here. You're either going to get approved, denied, or you'll get a pending review notification. Since we're filling out a dummy application, we're probably going to get an under review notice. So here, one thing, just make sure you don't click skip up here. This is, you have to apply for the net 30 terms with Zoro because like we just talked about, upfront purchases at this time don't report for Zoro, at least typically. So make sure to do the net 30 application, and then we'll walk you through some things that can happen if, for example, the net 30 terms are not approved. You have some options. So we're going to go ahead and just fill this out with all of our company information. That matches the Secretary of State as well as credit bureaus if we already have reports. First, last name, title, email address, phone number, company name, legal business name if different. That's if you have a DBA. And then we're just going to plug in the rest of this information here pretty quick. And then here, business website URL. That's if you have a company website. It's good to provide that, especially when you're doing an actual application for anything related to business credit. It's always good to show that you have a professional business website if you do. So go ahead and put that in even though it's not required. And then you're going to check off your desired credit limit. They give you three options, 2,500, 5,000, or 10,000. At this stage of the process, especially not having any business credit established, if you're pretty new and you're in the beginning stages, we'll just go with the 2,500, especially since it's just in that 30 account. The credit limit's not necessarily important. We're really just trying to get the trade line. So go ahead and select your desired credit limit. We recommend just going with the 2,500. They can always approve something different. And then you're going to hit submit net 30. And then it's going to take us to the decision page. So as we suspected, it says net 30 application requires further review. If you get this, it doesn't mean you were denied. It just means, like it says, further review. If you were denied, it would flat out tell you that. And if you're approved, it'd flat out tell you that as well as the credit limit you were approved for. Since this was not a real application, it's obviously under review. So you'll be contacted if you get this under review screen. As it says, a member of their credit team will contact you within 1 to 2 business days. You can always reach out to them as well. We have the contact information in your login here. So, up here at the top under the contact, you can always reach out to them if they take longer than they say here. Anyway, so further review doesn't mean a denial. If you were denied, it would flat out say that. This could end up resulting in a denial, but like I said, you can always reach out to the customer service. If Zoro does not attach net 30 terms to your account, you have a couple different options. They do tell you that you can reapply for the net 30 terms after 90 days. By that point, you should be well into the business credit building process, and you probably don't want to wait 90 days just to get a layer 1 account. So that's probably not going to be applicable for most people. If you do get denied, we would recommend just reaching out to their credit team using the contact information in your portal, asking to speak with a representative that can then attach net 30 terms to your account manually. They may need to do like a manual review of your company, and they may be able to do it at that point. So that's always worth it, because in the case of Zoro, they don't report that front. Normally, we would say with other vendors, like we've mentioned, that if you're not extended the net 30 terms, just do an upfront purchase, and that's usually okay. But with Zoro at this time, they typically don't report upfront purchases. So we do recommend calling their customer service team and asking for net 30 terms to be attached to your account, and they can do that in some cases. Now, we want to take you over and just show you an account that did get the terms attached and what that looks like. So if your account is given the net 30 terms, for one, you'll get the approval page. You should also get an email saying that you were approved. All of that should say what the credit limit was approved for, but also in your dashboard, in your login, you'll see basically just all your company information listed here. You'll have your order history here, and right here in the middle, you'll have your available credit limit, which basically just demonstrates that you were approved for the net 30 terms at whatever amount they said. And then addresses, this is important. You always want to make sure that as usual, the business address is ideally both your shipping and your billing, but definitely your billing. So just make sure that this is all set up the way it should be with your correct company information. You'll be able to see your net 30 terms in here, and this is kind of just like the hub of your login. I want to show you an account that has the net 30 terms, the checkout screen, so that you know how to do a purchase with this account. So we are in the checkout process. We already have something added to our cart here. So you'll see all of that. This is one step beyond the checkout. We are right before placing the order, but you'll see here, so you'll select your shipping address. We always recommend using the business address for everything. Use your business address as your shipping and your billing, and you can never go wrong. You'll never risk your trade line not reporting where it should. So that's always the default. And then shipping method. And then under payment method here, the important part, you have options. You'll only see this net 30 tab here if you were approved for the net 30 terms. If you weren't approved for the net 30 terms, this just won't be demonstrated here at all. It'll only say credit, debit card, and PayPal. So always make sure that you check net 30 terms for your purchase so that your trade reports. And then basically you'll just place an order from here. So pretty straightforward account setup. The net 30 application pretty much fills in your account information going forward. So it plugs all the information into where it needs to be. And then your account is ready to go. As long as you were approved for those net 30 terms, you can go ahead and make your purchase, and it will report to Dun & Bradstreet and keep that open balance around the 10th of the month. So we're just going to go through a couple quick things. Use your business address as your shipping and your billing. Zoro may approve you for anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000, depending. If they don't automatically approve it, a representative can sometimes attach the terms manually for you, or you can reapply after 90 days. Zoro currently only reports trade lines on open balances for net 30 accounts, typically. And then as always, reminder, always pay your invoices 7 to 10 days prior to the due date, just to make sure that you don't end up with some sort of late payment. And if you follow all these criteria, also make sure that your minimum purchase meets the usual $50 to $100 minimum purchase requirement, and you will have your trade line report to Dun & Bradstreet, and we'll see you in the next video.